They told you that money is earned through hard work. But that's not entirely true. Because if working hard were the key, those who get up earliest would be the richest. And they aren't. Money doesn't come from how much you do, but from how you think while you do it. Your mind is a system programmed since you were a child. And if that system is full of limiting beliefs, money is bad, rich people are corrupt, I'm not good with finances, then you can work your whole life and still stay in the same place. Today we're not going to talk about positive thinking. We're going to talk about neuroscience, mental programming, and invisible habits that determine whether you attract or repel money without realizing it. Stay until the end. Because when you understand this, you'll see money in a way you were never taught. A few years ago, a neuroscientist at MIT conducted a curious experiment. He presented two groups of people with the same task, solving a fictitious financial problem. Before the experiment, the first group heard phrases about abundance, opportunity, and creativity. The second group heard phrases about scarcity, crisis, and debt. The result? The positive group not only solved the problem faster but also found 3 times more possible solutions. It wasn't magic. It was biology. When your brain perceives scarcity, it activates survival mode. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that makes intelligent decisions, shuts down. And your mind focuses only on surviving today. But when it senses abundance, creativity, strategic thinking, and smart risk-taking are activated. Literally, your brain functions differently depending on how it perceives money. And that perception is formed long before you start working. Your financial mind was programmed without your permission. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain absorbs everything it hears without a filter. If you grew up hearing, "It's not enough, that's too expensive, you have to settle," those phrases were ingrained like lines of code in your subconscious. And that code dictates your financial behavior today, without you even realizing it. That's why some people, even though they earn a good income, lose everything. Others, with small incomes, manage to multiply their money. It's not luck. It's programming. Every time you repeat a limiting belief, you reinforce a neural connection. And every time you challenge that belief, you weaken it. If this is making you think, subscribe now. Because what's coming could change your way of thinking forever. Reprogramming your mind isn't just about believing you can. It's about rebuilding the system that decides what you think about, what you see, what you ignore, and what opportunities you pursue. The word attract sounds mystical, but in reality, it's scientific. Your brain filters reality through a system called the RAS, Reticular Activating System. This system decides what information is relevant and what isn't. If your mind is programmed for lack of money, the RAS will ignore opportunities, businesses, or ideas that don't fit that narrative. But if you reprogram your focus toward abundance, your brain will begin to notice patterns, people, and possibilities that you simply didn't see before. Example. Have you ever thought about buying a car, and suddenly you saw them everywhere? No more cars appeared. Only your attention shifted. Money works the same way. It's not that you attract it with thoughts, but rather that your mind filters reality so that you find the paths that lead you to it. They told you money was the problem. That if you earned more, you'd be freer. But no one explained that poverty doesn't start in your wallet, but in your mind. For years, millions of people have worked harder, studied more, and tried harder. And yet, they're still trapped in the same cycle, money in, money out. Big dreams, but small results. And it's not because they lack talent, or luck, or opportunities. It's because their minds were programmed to survive, not to thrive. The real battle for abundance isn't fought outside, it's fought within you. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to reprogram your brain, with science, real-life examples, and truths few dare to speak, so that money stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. A few years ago, I met a man named Andres. He was brilliant. He had incredible ideas, a natural talent for business, but he was always broke. Every time he earned some money, something happened, a debt, an unexpected expense, an excuse. He would say things like, "I wasn't born to be rich. I wish I had enough. When I get lucky, everything will change." One day, tired of seeing his frustration, I asked him a simple question. "What do you think when someone says the word wealth to you?" Andres was silent. Then he said, "I think of corrupt people, injustice, greed." There was the answer. His mind associated money with something bad. And the human brain, by nature, will never seek out something it considers dangerous. Andres wasn't a victim of the system. He was a victim of his own mental programming. And you probably are too. But here's the good news. That programming can be reprogrammed. Principle 1, your brain doesn't seek success, it seeks security. Neuroscience explains it this way. Your brain has a part called the amygdala, whose job is to keep you safe. Every time you try something new, invest, start a business, ask for a raise, that part of your brain interprets the risk as a threat. That's why, without realizing it, you sabotage yourself. You convince yourself that it's not the right time, that you don't have enough experience, or that maybe later. It's not laziness. It's misinterpreted protection. And here's the trick. The brain doesn't distinguish between real risk and emotional risk. It fears losing money just as much as losing reputation. That's why wealthy people aren't more intelligent, they've simply trained their minds to tolerate the discomfort of growth. If you want to reprogram yourself, start with this. Every time you feel afraid to move forward, don't ask yourself, "What if I fail?" Ask yourself, "What version of myself am I killing if I don't try?" If this is making you think differently, subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel doesn't give you pretty phrases, it gives you transformative realities. Principle 2, your subconscious mind operates on the beliefs you learned without you even realizing it. Neuroscientists say that 95% of your daily decisions are automatic. That means you live under an invisible pilot, your subconscious. If you grew up hearing phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard just to survive. Rich people are bad." Your mind created neural connections that associate wealth with stress, injustice, or guilt. And even if you consciously want to prosper, your subconscious keeps you in your comfort zone, scarcity. Changing that requires conscious repetition and new exposure. Your mind learns through repetition and emotion. That's why, instead of repeating empty affirmations in front of the mirror, start surrounding yourself with new evidence. Listen to conversations about investing. Read biographies of people who built from scratch. Expose your brain to realities where abundance is the norm. Because your mind doesn't change through desire, it changes through exposure. Principle 3, abundance isn't attracted, it's trained. Many people believe that attracting money is a matter of vibrating high. But science says otherwise. Money responds to your level of mental and energetic order, not your desire. People with a wealthy mindset don't focus on earning more. They focus on better organizing what they have. Because mental clutter generates financial clutter. Simple example. If you can't control your emotions, you won't control your finances either. If you aren't disciplined with your time, you won't be disciplined with your money either. Money is structured energy. And it reaches those who have a system prepared to sustain it. So before you ask yourself how to earn more, ask yourself if your mind is already prepared to manage more. If this resonates with you, leave a comment saying, "I'm reprogramming my mind." Let's create a community where abundance is not the exception, but the habit. Principle 4, your environment is a mirror of your programming. Your current environment is the visible reflection of your invisible thoughts. Look around you, your friends, your conversations, your room, your routine. Everything you see is physical evidence of how you think. If your conversations revolve around complaining, doubting, or justifying, your mind reinforces the scarcity narrative. The human brain learns by imitation. That's why, if you surround yourself with people who live in survival mode, your subconscious will understand that that's normal. You don't have to eliminate anyone. Just redefine your stimuli. Consume content that uplifts you. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Make your environment scream abundance even while you're still building it. And when the world tells you, you can't. Remember this. Your brain adapts to what you tell it, not to what you fear. There's a scene that has always stuck with me. An MIT scientist was explaining how the brain physically changes every time you learn something new. Literally, new connections are created in seconds. That means that every thought, every decision, and every habit is carving a new version of you. So the question isn't whether you can attract money. The question is whether your current mindset can hold it. Stop looking for quick fixes. Start working on the only asset that never loses value, your mind. You don't need luck. You don't need connections. You just need the courage to question the beliefs that got you here. Because when you change your mindset, your conversation changes. Your behavior changes. And sooner or later, change your bank account. If this message resonated with you, subscribe. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that the mind is the first business they must learn to manage. Remember, money doesn't set you free. Consciousness does. And true wealth begins the day you decide to reprogram yourself.